And as we've come back to hang out with birds, more than one specific bird, Lily has decided that Rigby's abandoned egg belongs to him, because his wife a few minutes ago decided it belonged to her. Now, I don't actually know if it'll hatch. It's very unlikely that it'll hatch. Rigby has been off of it for more than a day after having, well, no, not quite set it for 24 hours, so there is a possibility that it will develop just a few days late. An embryo does not begin to grow in a pigeon egg until it has been warm for 24 hours. If you take it away before that 24-hour point, you will pause the embryo's development and it will stop. So they may have decided to take over in time for it to develop. So we'll see what happens. It'll definitely be good practice for Lily and Luxie, unless Luxie lays her own actual eggs. So I suppose we'll reserve judgment on removing it until tomorrow. If they're still on it tomorrow, I'll let them keep it. Every day they're still on it, and it's still warm, I will allow them to keep it and keep sitting it. At least until we candle it to see whether it's fertile or not. If it candles infertile, I will remove it and let them try again on their own. So, quick update on Bobby. We mentioned in the previous video, we figured out what is wrong. Why, even though she is otherwise healthy, Bobby has gone very light and stays hunched most of the time. So, I don't remember how much detail I went into this in the last video. I am pretty sure I said we'd get to it at this one. But the 4 birds that left last week and one of the birds that left this week are 5 of the highest ranking birds in the loft. In their absence, there has been a power vacuum. Birds are reconfiguring. They're trying to figure out where exactly they fit in this new hierarchy. And while none of that has directly affected Bobby, part of their hierarchy rearrangement ritual, aside from outright physically fighting each other, is competing over who is most attractive to the hens. So, particularly young cocks in competition for a higher space in their hierarchy will dance for any lady who is still for it. There are so many birds fighting around and dancing in front of Bobby that she's not comfortable coming down to eat for more than a few seconds at a time. It just stresses her out too much to be around the other pigeons. So her feeding times are very brief, and when she's not eating, she is either with Luca, where she comfortably naps most of the time, or she's over here on a perch, fluffed up and uncomfortable. So, with a sigh of relief, I can conclude that she is just very severely stressed. But that means that when Luca leaves on Monday, she's going to be a lot more stressed. Perhaps stressed enough that I will have to put her in a hospital cage just to make sure that she can eat unmolested, like we had to do with Jed. Unfortunately, isolating pigeons who are used to being in a group and who have had previous bonds is distressing. Some of them become very depressed when that happens. And when we took Jet into the quarantine room, he just stopped eating altogether and sat in a sad ball in the middle of his hospital cage. So we brought his hospital cage back out here. He's not in it right now because he seems to perk up much more when he is allowed some out time to free range and interact with Rigby. I do not want him to mate with her. I do not want him to fill another egg. Because his little daughter up here is 8 weeks old today, which means she has been out of the nest box for a full month, and he still has a keel that you can spread butter with. So, while I'm spending out time with the birds, Jet has out time with me. He can come do what he likes. He gets much longer out time on cleaning days because I'm out here much longer on cleaning days. And when I'm about to go in, I refresh his water, refill his food dish. And last night he didn't go in till it was dark, but you can still see that he ate. He didn't drink very much, but he ate. And out here most of the time, he'll come down and he'll eat with the rest of the flock. He spent breakfast eating with them. And Sammy. Silk has reclaimed his and Sony's box. I've seen a lot more of PJ and Escher mating, and they appear to have officially claimed both that box there and the middle box. And guys, I am terribly sorry if I don't see them in front of me. I really, really struggle to remember names. I think the subscriber that made this suggestion was John. Please, please forgive me if I've gotten your name wrong. But they suggested that perhaps PJ is defending both of those boxes because the porch to that middle box makes a convenient strategic entrance to his nest box where he can surprise a potential intruder and chase them away. And I think that's very likely. Pigeons of high rank don't like to have neighbors because the wider their bubble of personal space, the higher their accepted rank within the flock. Now, this is a rule more specific to cocks than hens. Hens are considered primarily to have their husband's rank. So however much space is afforded the cock is generally speaking afforded the hen unless she permits someone else into her space. So it could be a little column A, a little column B, or it could be entirely that is a strategic entrance. And we actually have seen him on video use that as a strategic side entrance when somebody else refutes his claim to that as his nest box. Lily is terrible about it. Lily will try to get up there. Ellie, who we're pretty sure is a hen, will also try to get up there. And generally speaking, when they do, instead of coming straight in the front, PJ will land on that porch and he'll go in over the side after them. And he will use the element of surprise to chase them out. So, yeah, that might be an accurate assessment. Ellie right now is in the downstairs box from her parents, which is Luca's box half the time, not because he actually wants to lay eggs in it, but it's an empty box between him and Sissy that they don't really compete over that hard. Hello, Sammy. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to startle you. So Lily is trying to clear and make a more comfortable spot for that egg that I guess he has officially decided to adopt. That's his and Luxie's egg now. I wonder if that will prevent Luxie from producing one of her own. I don't actually know. I suppose it remains to be seen. They have tried to mate a few times. But if they can use that egg as practice before Luxie puts the physical components, the calcium, the protein, the building blocks, into her clutch, I wonder if they'll be able to produce milk if they haven't laid that egg. He might be able to, because the cockbird's hormones are triggered by setting. But the hen's hormones, I would think, are, hi Sammy, triggered by actually laying the egg. So it'll be very interesting to see if she has milk for that if it hatches. He just turned 6 months old a few days ago. He hasn't filled an egg yet. And here he is working out the mechanics of sitting on one that his wife didn't lay. Oh, this will be an interesting development to keep up with. Oh, hello, Papillon. Papillon's been another interesting one to follow so far because of her gender expression. I could have sworn that she was a cock for the first 6 months of her life. And for a little while, after her first wife left her for Emilio, she would just crouch down and fluff up and assume the position whenever she wanted an egg filled, and then she'd go sit it by herself. She hasn't actually taken a mate yet, still. And she hasn't been particularly interested in taking one since. And her sister Cookie, on the other hand, who's probably up there in her box. I'm not going to bother them to check. I don't see her anywhere out, and Pippin's up on the swing right now. Oh, it's been over a week since I took her chicks away. I wonder... Well, there wasn't anything in her box when I came in, so she probably hasn't laid anything yet. That's adorable. Oh, I guess that's officially Lily and Luxie's egg now. Luxie's very pleased. You can see her little forehead fluff from here. Well, no, you can't. The picture's kind of grainy. But she won't let me get any closer. Maybe if she turns profile, you'll be able to see it. See if I can focus on her face a little sharper. Can you see the floof? That's a contented bird. That's a very contented Luxie. Yeah, you can see the floof a little, maybe. What a happy girl. Now, let's shift over from happy to not feeling good. You can probably, sorry, I'm only holding this with one hand. You can probably see Jet in there with all of his feathers fluffed. He's horizontally hunched, his hackles are up, his shields are fluffed out. He's cold. He's cold because he's very light. He doesn't have the muscle mass right now to keep himself properly warm. And that's one of the first behaviors that you'll notice in a bird who's not well. You'll see them hunched and fluffed like this. Now again, I'm not worried that he has anything contagious because he certainly would have shared it both with Rigby and with his tiny daughter. So because neither of them is adversely affected, I'm a lot less worried about the possibility of Jet being sick with something that can catch. But Jet is very stressed. And when I step out of here in a little bit, I will return him to the hospital cage, freshen his water, refill his food dish. I hear somebody fussing, but I don't know who's doing it. But this is a reference for those of you who are new to pigeons. That is an uncomfortable fluff. This is a contented fluff. Their chest can be floofed a little bit. Their forehead can certainly be floofed. And over there, Bobby is simultaneously comfortable and cold. She's doing the happy floof with her forehead, but she's also trying to bury herself in her feathers. She is the most slender bird here. Another aspect to comfy floof. Tandy is chilly but also comfy. You can see that all of her feathers are fluffed, but that she is standing on one foot. Pigeons stand on one foot when they are supremely comfortable. You are not going to see a sick bird one-footing. They don't feel well enough, their balance is not good enough to do it. So just after food time, everybody is comfortably napping in their nest boxes. The birds who either don't have nest boxes or whose nest boxes are currently being occupied by their mates are loafing comfortably on the shelf. The swing belongs to Gus Gus. Oh, my let's go to sleep. And so is everybody else in the loft. Everybody is comfy and sleepy. And it is going to be a shame to go fish Jet out of there to put him back in his hospital cage. But for his own benefit, I'm going to have to. I'm also going to close their window. I like letting them have fresh air when it's available. When the weather is nice, when it's not too hot or too cold. Well, I will take care of Jet. And then leave everyone to their nap time. Once again, thank you to my subscribers here on YouTube. I'm so sorry, you must get so tired of hearing this, but if you enjoyed our content, please subscribe and hit the stupid little bell. I don't know why you can subscribe and not get everything you need to get. YouTube just be like that now. No, and Preeny Bobby. Thank you to our wonderful patrons on Patreon, to the friends of our business page on Facebook, and to our followers on Tumblr, Instagram, and Twitter. Our Tumblr blog is an advice blog. You can ask questions on pigeon care and get long, deeply detailed answers. Oh, hello, Bird. We are the Ramsey Loft on all platforms. For both your financial and intellectual contributions, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. You make most of this possible.